Today we're going to continue down this path of thinking outside of ourselves, just like with service of how can we help, how can we serve other people. Though today it's going to be a little bit deeper. I want to talk about kind of this feeding into the emotion or the motivation to stop viewing pornography specifically. Or I mean, in other substances, there might be some of this, but the idea of thinking of the implications of what we're doing when we view pornography. What are we providing? What are we supporting? I remember hearing somebody talk about the idea that we vote for what we want based on our attention. What we give our attention to is a vote for that. We want more of that thing. And so even though in the world of pornography there's so much out there that is free and easy to access, when we pay attention to those things, we are voting that this is what we want. We want more of this in the world. Create more of this. Give me more of this. And then they use that to kind of sell other ads and other things. And I think one of the better examples I've heard of this, or one of the kind of best ways to kind of frame this, comes from a book called "He Restoreth My Soul." It's a Christian-based book from an author who was a psychiatrist or is a psychiatrist, and he's talking about pornography specifically, and he goes into the science of it, and he goes into the kind of the religious side of the spiritual side of this. One of the things he brings up about this particular thing of thinking of others when we're looking at pornography is he calls them the throwaway people, the men and women in these videos who we are using for our own sexual pleasures, and then we move on. And they make these videos. They might make some video money off of it. They might not, depending on their situation, which can't be verified all the time of whether it was consensual or not. And that I think is part of the heart of this, that we are voting with our attention when we look at this for more of this material, and for people we don't care necessarily when we're looking and searching for that and viewing it. We don't necessarily care if it was consensual, if the men and women in these things were putting are being recorded and with the intention of making pornographic materials, or if they were thinking it was just for them, or if they were being coerced into doing this by somebody else first in some other way. There is research and there are people who are fighting against those kinds of things, just like the laws and restrictions now against revenge porn, and thinking about how these people are being used, their bodies and their images are being used for our sexual pleasure, and they are then just thrown away. We move on when we don't want them or need them anymore. Thinking about the impact on them, their families, their lives. I remember having a professor in my psychology degree talk about this idea of how he treats pornography addictions is helping people recognize that as they're viewing, to think about what is the personality of this person? What are their likes, their dislikes? Seeing them as a real person and not just as an object for our fantasies and our desires. As we see and think, try to get out of, again, our own selfish desires and our own self-centeredness, and think about these people that we're creating. Are we actually hurting someone? Are we actually creating a need, or creating a space for people to be taken advantage of? Are we supporting that? When we view and look at pornography, this goes beyond the morality of seeing a naked body or a naked person and doing that. I think this goes into, again, we're creating an environment and a place for this kind of thing to perpetuate and to be built up. And where there's money involved, when there's things that kind of advertising, where people don't really care about other people's lives on some ends, more about that bottom line, they're willing to make sacrifices that we, on this end, might be horrified to know what's happening on that end. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and for us to be supporting that, thinking outside of ourselves, outside of the one time or the multiple times, every time we go back to this, it supports this cause. And that might not be who we want to be. That might not be something we want to support. Consider today if there are, or the people you look to, the people you look at when you're doing this, and if that's something you want to continue to support. I bring this up not to throw shame or to make you feel, well, maybe I am making to help you kind of recognize and to feel bad, but those emotions, the hope is to bring them up to a point where it can guide and inform you so that you can make a better decision, or a decision on what you want to do, how you want to proceed. To remember, yes, the vision and where you want to go, and to acknowledge what you're doing now and how that's impacting other people, their lives, their livelihoods, and what that actually does to the communities and the families, and that. Thinking critically, why is this out there? If it is for free, why is it out there for free? How is it that they're able to supply this? And think about, what is it they want you to do because of it? What do they get out of you going to websites and things for free or not? And how are they trying to influence you for their costs? And getting in deeper about the motivations of other people that they have towards you or on you, and how you are influencing this society, this community. That can be changed if we collectively start making changes. Collectively starts with the individual. So think about you, think about your motivations, think about how it's impacting others, and think about how they are trying to impact and influence you. Take time to think and reflect on that today, and maybe tomorrow and some other times. Getting out of this individual bubble and start seeing the implications and ripple effects outward.